cards, but now if he's going to ping that, he's getting all three.
Or he might just go for a board clear and ping the 1/1.
That could, yeah, alright.
It's a close call, because, yeah, pinging the Acolyte might be better there, because... But I guess Topo's thought process is that he already has the Arcane Intellect in hand, so all he has to do is make sure that he doesn't get run over too hard on the board, and then that way... And he thinks that's the only way that he can lose is if he gets run over too hard on the board. So he decides to go for a little bit of board clearing, and it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, that definitely makes some sense. It seems as though he's in a slightly sticky situation right now, because if you kind of feel bad playing that Frost Nova without a Doomsayer, which he unfortunately didn't pick up. And but next turn, he's going to be fine with a Blizzard, and he could just probably keep delaying the game until he wins it.
Yeah, he has a lot of good turns coming in here.
Yeah.
But this turn, if Newbie picks up a Loatheb in the next couple turns, that's going to be the biggest problem for Topo.
Definitely. It's not looking so one-sided.
Well, Topo's thinking that as long as he doesn't get blown out too hard this turn, then he can win. So he's thinking about just using the Fireball on the Imp Game Boss to try to make sure that even if there is a Loatheb, he wouldn't be too shut out. But I don't know if that's necessary, because it's still only a 3-power minion.
Yeah, I think 3 is totally fine to face yourself with. It's like... it's a common thing, I feel like, when you go up against Priest as Freeze Mage and you're looking at all these minions, but then you look at their attack and you're like, wait, that has 2 attack. Sure, it has 8 health, but it has 2 attack. Like, why am I worried? I could just do nothing for another turn. And I feel like that's pretty important. I mean, it's not like Topo had something to do last turn, but I think an important part of Freeze Mage is knowing that it's okay to wait it out another turn. Things will just be a little more worth next turn if you give it some time.
Yeah, definitely, because the more the Zoo commits, the more value that your AoEs will get. And TopoMaster here he's taking a decent amount of damage, falling to 15 now. But I expect that he's not going to take very much damage for the rest of this game, just based off of his hand having 3 freezes already and the Frost Nova Doomsayer. Yeah,
I personally would just start... It's tough what I would do here. Okay, so he's gonna go with the Frost Nova Doomsayer. That's interesting. I mean, I might have preferred to wait it out a little bit. Might have preferred to Blizzard now, maybe even Blizzard again, and just let the board develop even more so I could Doomsayer. Because I oftentimes find that when you throw down, especially both your AoEs or both your Blizzards, people start overextending a lot.
Yeah, that definitely happens a lot.
Yeah.
And Newbie doesn't have an answer to the Doomsayer, so he's just going to have to pass the turn.
Yeah, alternatively, it's nice to not deal damage to the Imp King bosses, although I'm not sure if he knows that freezing the Imp King bosses... I'm pretty sure it also freezes the Imp, right?
Yeah, it freezes the Imp.
Yeah.
But this is exactly why Topo wanted to go for the freeze last turn, because he wanted to just slam down the Emperor this turn, and he also wanted to make sure that something like a Loatheb, once again, couldn't just shut him out, because this way, he's pretty much ahead on board for the rest of the game, so that even if there was a Loatheb from Newbie at this point, it just wouldn't be good enough, because Topo just shut out so much of the damage that Newbie had.
Definitely a respectable situation that Topo has gotten himself into. And Newbie is just feeling the wrath of Freeze Mage. He's just at this point he's understanding why. I'm sure he understood why beforehand, why this is so difficult, but he's really feeling it.
Yeah. And Topo here, he's still taking a decent amount of damage. He's at 12 now.
Yeah.
And even though he can't really die within the next few turns, he doesn't have a win set up yet. So the game's definitely not completely over yet.
Definitely.
But I think this turn Topo would just Flame Strike and then probably Antonidas Frostbolt the next turn.
It seems fine. Especially if there's like a singular large minion coming out. And one of the power overwhelmings has already been used.
Yeah.
So if you're going to force the other one out to clear out your Antonidas, then you're probably in pretty good shape when it comes to surprises.
Especially since Topo already has 15 damage in hand, and Newbie Newbie might keep tapping, and he has the Flame Imp in hand. So Topo's already pretty close to lethal, even though Newbie's at 26 or
Yeah,
24.
I oftentimes find that as the freeze mage, I'm usually put in a situation a few turns from now where it's like, okay, well, do I want to Alex him down 3 health, or do I want to Alex myself up 3 health, or do I
Yeah.
want to just burn him down?
And yeah, and Alex in this matchup is actually a lot of times dead just because of the situation that you just described. And
Yeah.
I'm kind of surprised that Topo here didn't just go for the Antonidas Frostbolt, because he has the second ice block in hand. But I guess his thought process is that there's no way that he loses if he just continuously plays board control.
I guess.
But-
And I guess another thought process is that he's gonna get another fireball from Antonidas, so he doesn't have to worry that much.
Okay, I think if Newbie slams the Sea Giant here, Topo, I think, will definitely go for the Antonidas. And Newbie there is trying to play super safe and doesn't even play the Flame Imp down, which he could have gotten down for free.
Now, would you fireball here if you're Topo? Like, you
I
know,
think
just
you-
fireball the Sea Giant and trade him off?
I think you just freeze it. Or
Yeah.
maybe you do fireball it, so that way an owl couldn't use the Sea Giant
Yeah.
to kill Antonidas.
Oh,
Okay, I guess you kill it this way.
he is. Alright, that's fine, because, like, normally Ice Lance wouldn't be the best thing to play, but you just spawn yourself 2 more fireballs against someone who can only do themselves harm. You seem to be in a pretty good spot if you're Topo.
And Newbie might just tap and then concede. No, he didn't
Yeah.
even tap.
Or just emote and concede. So now
Yeah.
Topo, if I'm not mistaken, after my situation, now Topo is up 2-0, right?
Yeah, and he has his warrior left against the warlock, the paladin, and the mage. And against 3 decks that are probably going to be all board-centric decks, I think Topo has to feel pretty comfortable playing the control warrior.
I definitely would. I would honestly.
Even if it
feel
was a patron.
comfortable.
Even if it was a patron, I think he would feel pretty comfortable.
Yeah, I mean the patron, patron wouldn't feel too bad at all, or control warrior. I feel like either of those could definitely pull a win off these kind of aggro type decks or just faster decks. I wouldn't be surprised if it even results in the 3-0, just because I oftentimes find myself brimming with confidence after
Going
after
up
such a
to-
situation, right?
Oh, so it is a patron.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, and he has the 2 best cards in his deck.
Just hanging out, right?
Oh, and Newbie has a really bad hand also.
Oh my golly gee, Newbie, what are you doing, man?
Oh,
Drawn
wow.
like a newbie. Oh boy.
Oh, this
Oh
this game might be over already.
yeah.
I hate saying, oh my gosh. I hate saying that, but this game,
It's really tough.
oh man.
Just suddenly assuming that someone has won the game. But, you know, at this point in time, I don't think it's that hard a decision.
Yeah. Oh
Because the
man.
matchup is about 50-50. And
But with hands like
basically
this-
about the hand.
With hands like this, it's like it's ridiculously favored for Topo.
Oh yeah, no, of course. I mean, like, with both
Yeah.
of them having equal hands, it's like, it's about 50-50. So now with Topo having such a nice hand, it's looking...
But only 1 drop into his deck, into a 2, into a 3, into his best 4, into best 5.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty strong.
I would agree. Definitely agree with you on that one.
So Topo has some choices here, and yeah, I like going for the board clear over the frothing, because all he needs to do is make sure that he has a safe board to develop the patrons in the next couple turns. He doesn't really need the pressure with the frothing, because even 2 patrons is often good enough against the Seeker Pally.
I agree, and I was gonna say one of the biggest downsides to if he had played Frothing is if Blessing of Kings showed up,
Yeah.
and Blessing of Kings showed up. So this kind of makes it a bit easier for Topo to make some decisions.
But Topo still doesn't have a fantastic answer to the Kings, unless he wants to... I guess he's just going to override the weapon and then face tank it, and he picks up the Inner Rage, which will make next turn even more of a blowout.
Yeah,
But
I
Newbie does
think-
have the Loatheb to stop... Newbie does have the Loatheb to stop the Patron Spawn, so... If Newbie picks up the mysterious challenger after the Lotheb, he does have a shot, but I think Topo would just go for the 2 patrons this turn. Oh, he decides just to hero power over the Lotheb. And he decided that really quickly.
Fascinating. I'm not too sure why that was the decision, because after all, Lotheb is one of the best turn 5 plays in the game, especially going up against something like this. You can't help but wonder if Newbiee was considering that this wasn't even patron. I don't know.
Well, you saw Finley, right?
You did. You very much so did. That is something Newbiee surely had seen with his own 2 eyes.
And he didn't even play the Redemption there.
Yeah, my lungs don't even like this play.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Okay, well, either way, Newbie's
Well, regardless of the Lotheb.
heading to a really fast loss.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, if it's
Even
like
if Lotheb was
consolation
thrown
for
down. Yeah, like even if Lotheb was thrown down, he'd make
2 patrons.
Topo would make 2 patrons.
Yeah.
And the Lotheb would still die. So, and the 1/1s would all still die. So the difference is just, you know, a few patrons. So I guess holding it, despite not being the best play, was okay. Well, there we go.
Topo.
So Topo must be very, very happy walking into these finals. He is essentially just coming in after a 3-0, and he's feeling good.
Really strong 3-0 from him. And the matchup in the finals is going to be pretty interesting because Topo's going in with the control-y lineup with Patron, a Freeze Mage, and the Murloc Paladin. Well, we saw Back in Black with the more standard lineup playing the decks like the Shaman, the Secret Paladin, and the Zoo Warlock. So
Yeah.
that's going to be a really interesting matchup that we have in the finals.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's essentially Back in Black is riding on the back of everybody who's been winning tournaments lately, except for last week, because TopoMaster is representing what happened last week, which is Frozen brought exactly what countered all these quick decks and just threw out all the other ideas of, you know, a fast win. And so Topo is embracing that, and we will see a collision of opposing deck speeds in just about 3 minutes. So everybody stick around for the finals. We'll be right back.